Hello and good afternoon. Good morning. It's not yet noon. So here is part 3 of our Disney tier video. I don't really have anything. Do you want to just get straight into Fantasia 2000? Do you have any intro you want to do, Clay? Do you want to talk about the Wendy's we had and how it was just disappointing? How the fries tasted stale as fuck? How the chicken sandwich was just aggressively D tier? Can we just add Wendy's to this and put it in D tier?
Maybe for the fast food video.
Okay.
But, did you like the lemonade at least?
The lemonade was good.
I generally think they're really good with their lemonade. I tried their blueberry pomegranate lemonade, and that was actually really good.
Like, for me, there's just too much ice in it, because I don't like getting ice in my fast food drinks, because like that's more volume the liquid could be taking up, but I thought the lemonade was actually good. Yes. But the lemonade itself I thought tasted quite good.
Okay, so Fantasia 2000.
Fantasia 2. So,
dude, I barely fucking remember anything from this. All I remember are the parts that they took from Fantasia.
What all did they take? I know Sorcerer's Apprentice is in here.
I think Nine on Bell. No, I don't think Nine on Bell.
I don't think it was.
Actually, let me see. I'm gonna check.
The parts that I remember is I remember the flamingo with the yo-yos, which I remember from watching it in theaters. And I remember when we were watching, I was like, this is synced so well to the music. Like, even for Fantasia, like, this is great. And the Rhapsody in Blue sequence that I believe started the movie. And then I remember there were a lot of celebrity cameos. Like, I think Steve Martin was hosting it. I remember Penn and Teller showed up at some point.
Yeah, I think it is just the Sorcerer's Apprentice. Because it's Symphony No. 5, Pines of Rome, Rhapsody in Blue. I do remember Rhapsody in Blue, because it's
that wasn't the first one, but I liked that one a lot.
Piano Concerto No. 2, Allegro, Opus 102, for the Tin Soldier. I do remember the Tin Soldier, because that one was kind of terrifying.
Okay, I think I do remember that one.
That one was introduced by Bette Midler. Okay, let's see. Okay, so it's Steve Martin, Itzhak Perlman, who is a violinist, Quincy Jones, Bette Midler, James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones was in this. What did he introduce?
He introduced the Carnival of the Animals, which is the flamingos.
Okay.
Penn and Teller.
They had to do Sorcerer's Apprentice, right? Like, it's like two of the most famous magicians in the world. Like, it's gotta be.
Pomp and Circumstance was...
Oh, God, that was Donald and Noah's Ark!
Yeah, that was introduced by James Levine.
Oh, that part was awesome. I remember
And then Firebird Suite was Angela Lansbury.
I remember that was gorgeous to look at.
That one was actually really good. I like that one.
I remember thinking, it was like, this was a perfect, fantastic ending to this movie.
Now that I'm actually reading these, it's like, okay, I am starting to remember these segments. It's weird because I remember liking most of these individual segments, and yet I have forgotten it way easier than I did Fantasia. Mm-hmm. Like, Fantasia, I remember basically everything about it. But with this one, it's oddly forgettable despite it being really good. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I would agree with that, and to me, for that reason, I'd probably put it in B tier. I feel like this is a movie I remember. I like it. I certainly respect it. I don't like it again. Yeah, like I don't like it as much as the original. I don't know if I quite put it in A, but it's a B for sure. What I really I remember reading this several years ago. I was telling you about this the other night, that apparently Walt wanted to make a new Fantasia. It was either every year or every few years. But because the first one just didn't do that well, and I don't think this one did super well,
it barely made its budget back.
Then it's like, yeah, it just kind of like, this is a money sink, we can't do this, and that just breaks my heart.
It really does, because you can definitely tell there's a lot of passion behind the animation here. It is a different experience than, you know, watching your typical animated movie. But it is weird that people just kind of don't get into it, and yet everybody loves Fantasia. Although I don't hear a lot of people talking about this one, honestly. But you know what? It's good.
I'll say this though: if they make a new Fantasia movie, I'm gonna see that shit in IMAX. Well, I want to get like the full like primo experience.
Dude, we need to go to that one theater in Broken Arrow.
The Warren.
The
giant curved
It has the giant curved screen. It serves you dinner.
I don't know if they have IMAX though. They probably
do, but their screens are also so big, and I remember the sound being really loud. So it's like, yeah, if there is any movie to go see with, like, do a dinner and movie kind of thing, like, eat some, like, steak with a glass of Chianti.
I remember I think it was during Detective Pikachu that Billy ordered a margarita. Or no, maybe that was Endgame.
Oh, that's right, because we did go see it.
Yeah, Endgame was the margarita.
Endgame was
he was like getting
good.
drunk while watching it.
Oh boy.
So next is Dinosaur, is that right?
I wish I could have gotten drunk watching this.
You don't like the love monkey?
No.
Why not? Is it because he looks nasty? Is it
this
because
movie kind of looks disgusting?
It's because the graphics haven't aged well?
That's the thing, though. That's the thing.
Because
this movie looks phenomenal. It's got like fucking Avatar level of detail in its background.
Yeah, like it looks so good.
But I think the animated dinosaurs, while they are very well detailed, especially for
it's like the faces
2000, it's the fact that they have human facial animations on these dinosaurs.
And it's weird.
Like, it's like they had lips. The dinosaurs have lips in this, and it's like, no. It is also it kind of suffers from the same problem as Avatar in that while it looks really pretty, its plot is basic as shit. I didn't really find myself...
You didn't care about all of them trying to migrate and find the Great Valley?
No, because...
Because you've already seen that movie and it was great?
Yeah. The original Land Before Time is goated, man. I want to watch that shit again. I don't know if we ever are going to do a Don Bluth marathon, but because that would involve some pain. Then again, so do these marathons, but it's Don Bluth. Right, it's also a really short marathon.
Let's just do a marathon. We watch every Land Before Time. Stone a Cold Fire, baby.
I will...
Which one was that? I want to say Stone of Cold Fire is 7? That was the one with the meteor and Petrie's uncle. I remember that one, like, really liking that one.
I don't know, maybe they're good, I don't know.
It's been a long time since I've seen the sequels.
They made so many Land Before Time movies, dude.
Okay, what I'm gonna look it up. You keep talking about Dinosaur. Before I do,
14.
What is your 14?
I think they made 14.
I was gonna say like 12, but you might be right.
But anyways, so Dinosaur, you got Aladar, helping everybody migrate to the Great Valley because everyone's dying. And then you have
14. You had it right on the money.
I don't know. That number just kind of popped into my head. I don't know how. I actually didn't do that.
How are there 14? But you were saying as Aladar trying to get to the Great Valley.
And they're escaping. You got there's the drought, and then there's the sharp tooth, and it's like this is literally the Land Before Time, but way uglier and with a cast that I don't care for. Yeah, the lemurs are just kind of gross looking, and they don't contribute much of anything.
I really don't remember them doing that much, except for just being his family.
Yeah. The villain's just kind of a jerkwad for kind of no reason.
Is that my boy Crone? Is it Crone? Crone? I think it's with an N.
Crone?
Like K-R-O-N. Who has one of my favorite lines from the Disney Marathon. Now again, it's no out-of-my-way assassin, but I don't remember the context. It's Aladar comes up, and I think he's like, hey, some of the guys in the back, they're a little slow. Can we slow the pace down? Like, I've been thinking about this, and going, better leave the thinking to me from now on, Aladar. I love that shit. It is so, like, condescendingly beautiful.
That was pretty funny, but I don't know. This movie just didn't leave much of an impression on me, aside from dinosaur lips and the love monkey. But I mean, it looks spectacular for an early 2000s animated movie. Like a 3D animated movie, like the level of detail is actually really impressive. But other than that, I would honestly put it... I don't think it's D tier.
It's not D for Dinosaur?
Just for that.
I was saying it's not D for Dinosaur.
It's D for Dinosaur.
Because here's the thing. Like, I think it's probably more of a C tier movie. What I remember is, yes, the detail looks fucking great. Better leave the thinking to me from now on, Aladar. I don't remember what they actually called the shark tooth in this movie.
They're like Allosauruses or something.
Some shit. And...
Well, I think that's the actual name of the dinosaur. I don't think they actually call it that.
Wait, Allosaurus. Isn't that what Aladar is? Or is he a I don't think he's big enough to be a Bronchiosaurus.
No. No, this is an Allosaurus. Yeah. So
okay, never mind. But I remember them being actually genuinely creepy. And they do get a couple, I mean, it's a dinosaur movie with, your shark tooth predators. Like, they've got to get a good kill or two. And I remember being like, yeah, that's... It's actually pretty badass.
Alador is an iguanodon.
Okay. Is that like what Ducky is? No, because Ducky is actually like a Quadak. I just don't know my dinosaurs very well. I will be full on about that. I remember the first scene of this movie was also the trailer of the movie. So kind of what we were talking about like, with the Renaissance, how oftentimes that would happen. And it was just that long section of... I'm sorry, I was trying to say section and segment at the same time. But that long scene of Alador's egg. Like rolling around and all the different dinosaurs trying to grab it. Which looks fantastic. I feel like I heard somewhere that the original idea for this movie was for it to be completely silent.
Kind of a March of the Penguins style.
March of the Penguins, or like kind of like Rite of Spring from Fantasia. And I think that would have been great. Like, is that Jose? It is Jose.
Holy crap.
Hey, we're in the middle of a video. You want to say something hypothetical? Nope, he is piecing out, and I respect it. Love you, buddy.
He just walked in all smiles as soon as he saw the microphone. He's like...
Yeah, he just like gave a thumbs up and was like, alright, see you guys. But I think if this was...
It's a Carnotaurus, actually.
Okay. That was it, because I remember now they kept calling Carnotaurs. I don't know if I'm gonna... I don't want to say that, yes, if this movie was purely silent, it would have been better, because I don't think I was like, oh man, the dialogue is terrible. Love monkey thing aside. Because it also, if it was silent, I wouldn't have had my favorite line from the movie. But I maybe would have... I feel like this is a movie I definitely respect. I don't know if I like it enough to give it a full B. But I probably would have respected the movie a little bit more for doing that. Kind of like if Spirit had done it. It's nowhere near as obnoxious as Spirit, in my opinion. The thing I really did like about it, though, was Crone. And not just because of his passive-aggressive lines. The vibe I got from him was less of, I'm the guy in charge, and I'm just a dude on a power trip, and I'm a giant dickhead. The vibe I got from him was, look, the world we live in is a shithole. And for us to get to where we need to go, like, I've done this migration a few times. I know how it works. The weak die, and the strong survive. It's just the way it is. I am not going to slow us down, because if we slow down, that's more time that we don't have food, that's more time we don't have water, and that's more time we can get picked off by predators. If they're too slow to keep up,
too slow.
It sucks for them. And you know what? That keeps the predators off the rest of the herd. If they catch up, that's great. Good for them. But I can't risk the safety of the entire squad for a few stragglers. Now, is he still an asshole about it? 100%. Like, he's
but it is a desperate situation.
That's how I see it. And it makes me sympathize with, not like, oh man, like, I love this guy, I can't believe, people don't see Crone the way I do. I'm like, I feel like there's a little more there. I could maybe go B on this movie. I don't think you would go that high. I could be wrong. I think I could give it a B.
So, next.
It's an S-tier movie. Like, we don't have to say anything else. This movie looks fantastic. This movie is funny as fuck. This movie still gets quoted and it's not just like, oh yeah, I remember it, so I quote it. You talk to anyone who grew up in our generation, they will quote the shit out of this movie.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
He's got a point. That is probably, no, I can't know if I say that's my favorite line in the movie.
Basically, every line is your favorite line.
It really is.
This movie
is laughing. It's like you want to say something about the movie, which means you have to think about the movie. And while thinking about the movie, I'm like, oh yeah, that shit's fucking hilarious. And then like that scene is hilarious, and you can't focus.
Wait a minute, how did you guys get here before us?
You got me. Recorded this doesn't make any sense.
Pull the lever, crank. Wrong lever. Oh my! Like every actor in this movie is having the fucking time of their life. Like Eartha Kitt is so funny in this movie. I mean, David Spade is really funny. Kronk is the funniest thing in anything.
100%. I love Kronk so much.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna beat you down
open this door right now and we'll burn your house to the ground. Wait, don't you mean or? Fine. Open this door up right now or we'll burn your house to the ground. So is it and or? Because it's very confusing.
It's like, that's a very important detail.
It's such a fucking good movie. It's an S tier.
Scary beyond all reason. Yeah, that's it. Also, I know I've been trying to say this whenever a movie that I kind of currently have in my top 10 is on there. This is one of them that is.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Phenomenal. I don't think we can't really talk about it because we're too busy laughing. Let's just go to the next movie.
So we've got Atlantis Square Panis over here. It's okay. I have to get away from Emperor's New Groove. I'm going to be laughing this entire video.
Think about Strange World. It'll calm you down. That'll be your cool off.
It's not.
I feel like we should say we did go ahead and watch it.
Calm me down.
We watched it last night, so we can talk about it. Now it is at the end of things, so we won't talk about it now. But theoretically, we could.
Okay, so Atlantis. I liked this movie a lot. I do feel it has some problems that keep it from being, like an S tier movie. But okay, I like the cast of characters. We got a quirky bunch over here. Milo. He's pretty likable. We got the explosion guy. He's funny. He's like, "Oh look, I made the bridge. It took me like 5 minutes." You got Aubrey, the engineer. You've got Mole.
The Gurgi of the movie.
He was the Gurgi of the movie.
Thoroughly a Gurgi.
He's very thoroughly a Gurgi.
Sorry, now I'm trying to think. Is there a Gurgi in the Emperor's New Groove? I guess it would be the chipmunk.
Yeah, they're like the squirrel or chipmunk thing.
Who's really funny because of how aggro he is. I guess the love monkey is the Gurgi of Dinosaur.
I think everything's the Gurgi in that movie.
Everything's the Gurgi.
No, it's not that bad. Okay, so... Shut the fuck up.
I'm gonna stop now.
Okay, Atlantis. I think the animation it's good. Like, it feels like it's very standard for most of the time, and then there are like one or two moments that really stand out, like the super magic glowy shit, like when she turns into the crystal person thing. The Leviathan is very well animated. Like that whole sequence is really good. I think I had a toy of the Leviathan when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah.
I sold those. That's badass.
I think the cast is really good. And I do like the overall, like, yeah, this is an exploration. This is an adventure trying to find Atlantis. And there are a lot of really cool set pieces like the exploding fireflies, the Leviathan, the final chase with, like, the motorbike kind of, like, the flying motorbike things. I like the design of Atlantis. I like the aesthetic of it. This almost, like, ancient, but also... Actually, no. Ancient's the right word, because it kind of reminds me of, like, the ancient technology from Breath of the Wild, where it's, like, it is very old-looking, but it's got, like, the Tron lines, and it's very clearly, like, futuristic.
It's like the Road of Eldorado, like, meets Tron.
Yeah, kinda.
With, like, a little Majora's Mask in there.
Just a little bit. I think the biggest weakness in the movie is the villain. But here's the thing, though. It's not everything about the villain. It is purely the villain's motivation. Because I think Rourke is actually a really good villain. He is kind of a twist villain. Which, I mean, we aren't going to get to that thing for a while. But he is a twist villain. He and, like, the one chick, the blondie. And it's like... I like how the entire crew except Milo was actually in on it. And then it was like, he goes too far and that's why they flip sides. I like him as a villain because it's like, yeah, it's like that he is this very big, physically imposing military man. He is a good foil to Milo, who's like the noodly arm nerd. I like that he is actually kind of a respectful guy for a good chunk of the story, where it's like, yeah, he is the commander of the mission. He is very personable. He is genuinely saddened when he loses people, you know. And it's like, you actually really like this guy. And then he just kind of he's just like, oh yeah, I was planning on, like, backstabbing every Milo the entire time. And it was like, where it falls apart for me is his motivation is like, they're doing this for money. And like I said in Pocahontas, money by itself is an incredibly weak motivation. Now, if you need that money for a purpose, like if you are someone who is desperate for money, you know, then there's something there.
Like your friends from the Ushinomiya family from
I've been reading Umineko, and it's like, well, there's like 10 tons of gold possibly at stake, so, and everybody needs that shit. But he just wants money, and he is willing to literally destroy an entire civilization for it. And I think the thing that really bugs me is what Milo brings up a really good point. He's like, we just discovered the lost civilization of Atlantis. You will never want for anything for the rest of your life. You're already going to be stupidly rich. You know, if you take this power source from them, you are killing that entire civilization. And he's like, huh, is that so? Then I think we should ask double for it. What do you think?
Yeah, so what do you think that's worth double, sir? I was thinking triple.
And it's like, yeah, he does bring up a good point. You are responsible for finding a lost civilization? Dude, you're set for life. What the fuck else do you want? And it kind of makes it fall apart, because it's not like something like Indiana Jones, where it's like, oh yeah, if you found the lost Ark of the Covenant, you're going to, and you sell it to Hitler, you're going to be stupid rich. It is the discovery. Although in that movie, it is like, Belloc is doing it purely for the discovery. He's not doing it for money. But in this example, it's like, yeah, you go to a lost, like an abandoned civilization, you find some big chunk of gold. It's like, okay, fine, fight over that. It's money, I guess. But this is a civilization we're talking about here. This is like something you could bring back to, you could bring these people back to the modern era. And, you know, like, this is a whole country we're talking about. And it's like, and that's not enough? Like, okay, there's greed and then there's absurdity. And I felt like we were...
Super greed.
There's super greed. And I feel like it kind of went past the typical, like, greediness, and it became cartoonish. Which is weird, because this movie is actually rather grounded. I mean, okay, it's grounded, and then there's also giant leviathans and ancient civilization. But it seems like the human characters are more grounded in reality. Like this could possibly take place. And so he just kind of comes across as unrealistic. I do think the final battle is really cool, though. I would say that it is a B-tier movie, but you could possibly argue it's an A-tier movie. But it's not... It's definitely not an S-tier movie. I think it has a few too many problems.
For me, it's more like a C-tier movie that you could argue is a B-tier movie.
Really?
For me, like, I remember when we had I remember I was quite looking forward to it. I was like, I know this is a cult classic. I haven't seen it in a while, and I remember liking it. And what I remember thinking was, I'm enjoying the journey to Atlantis more than when we actually get to Atlantis. Because you do get those set pieces. Like, you do get a lot of the character interaction. Like, quick, Clay, what are the 4 basic food groups?
Beans, bacon, whiskey, and lard.
Yes!
I can remember that. I can't remember the dwarves,
You can't remember the dwarves. You keep adding Weepy and Wheezy.
God damn it.
Wheezy's Jose, man.
Poor Jose. Like, allergies have been fucking him up so bad.
Yeah, like, poor bastard, like, was not able to sleep last night. Like,
Again.
I know we heard the nebulizer.
Yeah.
Which, very, very quick tangent. I'm very lucky and thankful my asthma has not fucked with me nearly as much the last few years, because when I was a kid, it was bad. I had to use the nebulizer a lot. And just whenever I hear that sound...
It's like PTSD.
I just am like, I know what that is. And it just bothers me. But whenever I just hear the word nebulizer, I'm like, that sounds like a WWE finisher.
The
it's
nebulizer!
Like, he's calling it the nebulizer, JR! Oh my god! I feel like I said the exact same thing in a previous tier list video.
You possibly did.
Like, I remember saying it about something, and I don't remember if I was talking about the nebulizer or not. It might have been. If I used the exact same joke and story, I apologize. But getting back to the movie, like you said, like, I remember the shit with the fireflies, because Milo's, like, running around making noise, like, waking everyone up. And I remember there's a moment where Rourke's like, I'm gonna fucking kill him. He's like, if this is nothing... If this is him just interfering with my ability to sleep and get peace of mind after the shit we go through, I am going to wring all of the water from his body. Oh, shit's happening! Got it! But yeah, the Leviathan chase as the ship is sinking and like all the water is coming in. It's so fucking cool. It's so intense. And yeah, like you do bring up an interesting point. I like that it's not just Rourke is the bad guy. It's no, they were all the bad guys. They all planned on betraying you. There's an episode of Star Wars Visions, which season 2 comes out in only a couple days.
Yeah.
May the 4th. That's what, Thursday?
Yeah.
Shit. There's an episode in there where it's like a bunch of people. Spoilers for that. Let me go ahead and make it clear. But in one of the episodes, a bunch of Jedi are going to, I believe, like a lightsaber smith to get new lightsabers. And then when they all turn them on, all but one of them are red. And then you're like, oh, that's bad. And it's such a fucking cool scene. And this is very similar to that. And yeah, it is just like Rourke goes too far. And at that point, he just doesn't become as interesting to me. And I remember Atlantis itself, I'm like, this looks kind of cool, but it's not bad. I'm just not super vibing with it. I think overall the movie's fine.
We could put it in B too.
I think that's fair. If I'm a C, maybe a B, and you're a B, maybe an A. B feels like the fair compromise. But now, I get to talk about Lilo and Stitch.
You can't see it, but he's trying. He's successfully licking his own nose with his tongue, which is impressive. I can't do that.
It took me years to be able to do this. Years of actively trying because of the scene in this movie where Stitch just fucking picks his nose with his tongue. So, I have tried to make it a point. Like I said a little bit earlier, The Emperor's New Groove. Whenever there's a movie I'm like, this is one of like my top 10, I bring it up. Whenever my double S crown changes, I bring it up. It was Fantasia. Then it was Jungle Book. Then it was Aladdin. And now it's Lilo and Stitch. What I genuinely love about this movie, aside from all of it, aside from how pretty it looks, aside from that poor bastard who keeps losing his ice cream, aside from all the crazy alien shit, aside from how weird and hilarious Lilo is, aside from there's a man who has the word Cobra written on his knuckles. What I love about this movie, Clay, is that I like it more as an adult than I did as a kid. It's a lot like The Land Before Time and The Brave Little Toaster, where it's a movie where, as a kid, I was like, this is so cool because dinosaurs. Oh, because the radio is alive and he's like slapping the lamp on his face. Oh, because of the cool aliens and shit. And then as an adult, The Land Before Time becomes dinosaurs are fun too. This is an absolute tragedy. And I am heartbroken watching this. The Brave Little Toaster becomes a story about self-worth and value. And the feeling of abandonment and how that can truly fuck with someone's self-image. And how this goes from a cool movie about aliens with some people on the side that I like to this really interesting story about this broken family unit trying to stay together. And there's also some fun aliens on the side. Like, the relationship between Lilo and Nani, I fucking love. I am so invested in that. I don't remember if I cried when we were watching it.
I think you did.
I think I did. I think it's when they were singing Aloha Oi on, like, the hammock. I was like, oh shit. Like, that got me. Lilo and Stitch has never made me cry before. Okay, movie. I always knew I liked you a lot. I didn't realize how much I did. I think it is heartwarming. I think it is funny as hell. Yeah, he took the red one. And I also loved the TV show. That is really,
the TV show was pretty cool.
Like, that's a lot more just like Monster of the Week, focusing on the cool alien shit, which I still adore. I don't know how well the show holds up. I might rewatch it and be like, Lilo is not nearly as funny as she is in the movie, man. Pudge controls the weather. You're crazy. It starts throwing hands.
And then she brings Stitch over to Nani with the recorder. She's like, watch this. Puts his finger on the recorder, opens up, you ain't nothing but a hound dog.
That's not an angel, Leo. I'm not even sure it's a dog. And Stitch like turns into a morph ball and starts going around the house.
Freaking Sonic spins.
Yeah, I love that shit so much. To me, it's an S tier movie. It is currently.
I can't argue with that.
At this point, it would be my double S tier. It is my second favorite movie out of all 61. There is one that beats it, but I think I actually did the math on this like a month or two ago. I was like, what movie has held the double S title the longest? And I think it was Lilo and Stitch by like 1 or 2 films.
Yeah, I think that tracks. I don't have a whole lot to say after that, mostly because I pretty much agree with you. Now, I don't think it is a contender for my double S, but it is just a fantastic film. And like you said, I love how the film is amazing for both kids and adults, and that meaning changed for you as you grew up. And it's like, yeah, I agree. When I was a kid, I saw, oh, it's just a fun family movie with like an alien dog, and oh, it's so cool. Yeah, you got Gantu, this giant space whale.
That's not an alien. That's a Samoan in a whale suit.
But then when you grow up, and you realize what kind of movie it is. And yet, what I love about it is the fact that the more adult side of the story and the more kiddie side of the story, neither of them detract from each other.
100%.
It's like, because as an adult, I appreciate the adult side of the story, but I still really like the kids stuff too. It's not one of those things where it's like you grow up and you're like, I mean, the movie's fine.
It's not like Timon and Pumbaa.
It's not like Timon and Pumbaa. But yeah, it is just such a masterfully done movie.
Oh, but speaking of masterful things about this movie, one more thing I have to say. The marketing for this movie was amazing. God. I remember my first interaction with it. I walked into a friend's house, and the trailer popped up. And
I see The Lion King?
No, Aladdin. And so I see fucking Aladdin and Jasmine, and then my friend's like, dude, I can't wait to see this movie. And I'm like, Aladdin? Dude, that came out like 10 years ago. What are you talking about? And then as a whole new world is playing, Stitch just rolls up in a car. I'm like, what am I seeing? What the fuck is this? And then there's a version with The Little Mermaid where he knocks Ariel off the rock when Rafiki holds up Stitch instead of Simba. It's so funny.
It's like an early version of like shitposting almost.
It really is. And there's that one part of me that goes, I'm a little disappointed that's not what the movie was. Just because of how good the marketing was. Like, I adore the movie for what it is, 1000%.
It's like some chaotic Kingdom Hearts game where just Stitch is just hopping around. Oh yeah, shout out to Stitch and Kingdom Hearts 2 for being the best summon in the game.
For carrying my ass in critical mode. I would not have made it past Terra, dude. I would have made it past so much of the game if not for
He's so
Stitch.
Busted that the game literally doesn't allow you to use him against
Zigbar. Because you just can't use summons, and there is no reason for it. It is just like,
because you have Donald and Goofy.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's literally like, oh shit, Stitch would invalidate the entire fight.
Which would be pretty funny to watch.
It would be so good.
But yeah, S tier movie.
Who's that? Is that Treasure Planet?
That's Treasure Planet. God, I like this movie a lot.
You want to know the 2 words that popped in my head immediately? Good Atlantis. I like Atlantis. I don't love Atlantis. But to me, this is good Atlantis. Because
it is kind of a similar structure,
it very much is. It's like
Rourke's kind of like he's kind of like Long John Silver, except without the connection to the main character.
Well, so here's the thing. There is that connection between John and Jim, which I fucking love. But it's also, yeah, with Rourke, it's, here's a dude, like, he's the captain, blah, 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 and then, oh, he's a real piece of shit. You know Silver's okay, it's fucking Treasure Island. You know who the main antagonist is gonna be the second you turn the movie on. The movie does not hide that from you. But it makes him so likable and so charming. And there's so many moments throughout where it's clear how much he genuinely cares about Jim. And you do see the moments of, I have to still be a tough pirate captain to contain my crew. Because as he tells Jim, he's like, if they think I've gone soft, I'm dead too. They will mutiny at me. They will kill me. I'm obsessed with this. Fuck, I love the line at the end. It's only a lifelong obsession, Jimbo. I'll get over it. It's like, you actually kind of feel bad for this dude.
But that's the thing, though. It's like, I like that the relationship feels believable enough that, yeah, he does end up sacrificing his treasure.
Not all of it. He still got himself a little bit.
He got a little bit, but I mean, he put some in his pocket. But I do like, I really love the dynamic between these two. And, I mean, Treasure Island's a classic. I mean, Muppet on Treasure Island is fucking great. It's got Tim Curry as Long John.
Shiver my timber, shiver my soul. Like, the first, 3 minutes goes so hard for a Muppet movie.
It really does. But I always felt like in the original book, Long John Silver's relationship with Jim felt more like manipulation. Where it is like, he might feel a little bit something for the lad, but he is very clearly using him for his end. And it's like that last scene where Jim lets him go, it is less of a mutual understanding in the book, and it feels more like, like he's tugging at this little kid's heartstrings to let him go. And, and Jim does. But I like here it is more of a equal relationship, where it is like they genuinely grow to respect the other person. It's like at the very end when they're trying to escape the planet, and Jim's like, okay, I've got an idea. I need you to do this. And Long John's like,
bet, I trust you.
Bet,
what do you
and
need?
then he tells everybody, yeah, listen to the kid. He's gonna get us out of here. I know he will. And yeah, it's just the dynamic between those two is so strong in this movie, and it's the best part of the movie. 100%. I think it is animated very well. Yeah. Very smoothly animated. Really good use of CGI. I like the crewmates. I like the doctor, or like the bumbling doctor, Delbert. He is, because he's a lot more competent than he is in the book, and that's frightening to say, because in the book, he's a fucking idiot. I liked the captain. I know the internet likes the captain.
She's cool. She's a cool cat lady.
Yeah.
Rip Mr. Arrow falling into a fucking black hole.
Yeah.
Yickety yikes. I love Scroops. That's the thing. I really like the alien design.
The alien designs are really cool.
Just this fucking bug, scorpion, crab demon. Like, yeah, that guy's creepy as fuck.
With his fucking burning eyes. Tell the captain I said hello. Tell him yourself. For me. Tell him yourself.
And I love his voice, like that fucking cold-ass hiss he's got the entire film. But it does have Ben. That's our Gurgi.
That is the Gurgi of my movie.
I don't know if I could give it an S just because Ben is so annoying. Hi, Jim!
Oh, Jesus.
Like, but it also has Morph, who's the other Gurgi, and I really like Morph.
Really fun.
So he might counteract Ben. I might be able to still give it an S. I think
it's an S.
I like this
let's give her an S. Yeah, there we go. We're running out of room up there. That's okay. We don't have a lot of S movies left.
Who is that coming up? I can't.
Brother Bear.
Oh, please, coordinates. All right,
but I'm genuinely curious where you're going to put it. I know where I want to put it. I don't know where you want to put it.
Okay, so I watched this movie quite a bit.
Same.
At, what was my age around that time? Somewhere around 12 and 14-ish.
I want to say same for me.
And I remember liking it a lot. I remember I love the songs. It's the Phil Collins soundtrack. It's got the Tarzan shit going on. I like them a lot. I remember liking Kenai. I remember liking Coda. I remember really liking the Moose.
Oh boy!
And
when Did that not hold up?
And when we rewatched it, I was like, I don't really like any of them. No, I take that back. I love the first act.
The first act is phenomenal.
Everything before he turns into a bear is great. And then he turns into a bear, and I'm like, oh, wow, I just hate this guy.
It's like, oh, this movie stopped taking itself seriously.
Yeah, that's another thing. It was like, it's such a massive tone shift. And not in, a really fun way. It's like, I was really getting into this
family
drama, like them trying to survive out here, how it's not easy and shit. I don't blame the bear, Kenai. Like, that hits really hard. It still does. And... yeah, then it's, alright, now he's a bear, and it can be all goofy and shit. And Okay, I don't.
We got the moose now.
The moose,
the Canadian mooses.
That's a really good example of what we were talking about with Lilo and Stitch. Like, as a kid, I thought they were fucking hilarious, and then growing up, I'm like, you guys just aren't funny. You were...
Because I remember the first act being really boring as a kid, and I was like, now the bear is talking, and now it's the opposite, where it's like, no, only the first act is good. Oh, shit.
I know you were saying... I don't want to say yesterday, it was like last week, but in the last part about Tarzan, you're like, I really don't like soundtracks that are... This is what is happening. This is how you feel. It doesn't bother me in Tarzan. It really bothered me in Spirit. For the most part, this movie doesn't bother me. But
I know the scene you're talking about.
A big scene when Kenai is telling Coda, this is what happened. And instead of actually hearing the conversation, you just get a song. And it's not like Kenai is singing and him telling Coda the story is the song. It is a song about, like, yeah, I let you down, blah, 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 blah. And you don't hear what he's saying. And there is audio of it. And I remember afterwards, I was like, is there a version of it? It was like a deleted scene? Yeah, and I listened to it like, this is so much better.
Because it's like, it's quiet, it's very dramatic. You know, it's
incredibly well acted. I mean, it's Joaquin Phoenix. Of course it's incredibly well acted. Like, holy shit, this guy is amazing. Beau is Afraid is a fucking fever dream of a movie. But he was great. Beau is Afraid, man. It is, I think I've heard it described as a 3-hour nightmare, and that's pretty accurate.
Because it's terrifying and it doesn't make any sense?
No, but it's still entertaining as hell. My boy. You have no context for what I'm talking about, but anyone who's seen the movie might know exactly what I mean. Oh my god.
Anyways, so it's... I want to put it in D tier.
No, that's where I would put it too. It's like I don't think it's bad enough for an F.
No,
but I went into it being like, this is an A tier movie. I love it. I was like, oh, it's not good.
It just hasn't aged well.
It hasn't. And not like in the way where like the facial animations on Dinosaur haven't aged well. The movie looks good. It's very pretty. It's very colorful. I still like the music. It's just that one moment
broke it.
It completely broke it. Because even before then, I was like, I wasn't buying the brother relationship between Kenai and Coda. He's like, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, and then you're like a little brother to me. I love you. Like, no. I don't buy this. It just doesn't work. But it's not F tier. Who do we have in F? That's Caballeros and Sword in the Stone.
Yeah, soon to be joined by the next entry on our list. Spoiler alert.
It's not Home on the Range, is it?
It is. Okay.
Do you have anything else to say about Brother Bear?
Nah, it wasn't good. It didn't hold up well.
Okay, do you want to go first for Home on the Range? Do you want me to go first for Home on the Range?
F. Okay. So
this was our double feature, by the way. It was Home on the Range and Chicken Little back to back.
I was in so much agony watching this movie. I think there are 2 movies on this list that made me literally curl up into a ball while we were watching it, and I was like, please, can we stop? And every time I would pause the movie, Josh would snap at me and go, no, you're just making, you're elongating our suffering.
What I remember is there was a line, and it wasn't the, yes, they're real, stop staring. It wasn't that, but there was something that happened. And we paused the movie, and we were like 22 minutes in, and you went, no. We still have an hour left. I don't want to watch this anymore. I was like, Clay, I get it. I don't either. But we're gonna.
This movie is abominable. It is...
Hey, I liked Abominable.
True. It's trash. It's gutter trash. It's white trash.
You know what it is? It's spoiled milk.
Yeah, it's a spoiled milk out of 10. It'll make you sick. It's disgusting to look and smell at.
It's not really disgusting to look at. I don't think it looks, like, great, but it looks fine.
I thought the art style was kind of hideous, not gonna lie.
I thought it was maybe a little basic, but it was fine.
This is some shit I would expect some third-rate company to shit out and put direct to DVD. This does not feel like a Disney movie. This feels like...
I can't even see sequel in terms of quality.
I was about to say DreamWorks, but I'm like, well, wait. A lot of DreamWorks shit slaps. Even their worst shit. Although, I don't know which is worse, Home or Home on the Range. I will say, I would say Home broke us quicker.
See, here's the thing. Here's the difference. This did not break us. We were like, I don't want to watch it. I don't either, but let's keep going. Home, we said, I can't watch this anymore. I think Home is the worst movie we've seen in any marathon.
That's
How
fair.
to Train Your Dragon 3 just pisses me off more. Like, it's a movie that just bothers me to my core. Home is actively annoying in a way that even this movie isn't.
Although, this movie is really fucking annoying. I don't like any of these fucking people.
I remember the horse was awful.
The horse was awful. He was literally
like, hey girls, I can't wait to have you lose your farm.
Bye.
Like,
wow,
so I hate you so much.
Yeah, fuck you, buddy.
But Home has like nothing. This has the yodeling scene.
It does have the yodeling scene, which is genuinely...
incredibly entertaining.
It is genuinely entertaining and really creative. And that's it.
And I do have to say, I have to give some credit where credit is due. I saw this movie in theaters. I was probably one of the, like, 300 people around the globe that did.
You poor bastard.
And the scene where he's, Mr. Alameda Slim, who I actually enjoy as a villain, because he is just so over-the-top and entertaining. But when he's teaching his nephews the difference between him, the rustler, and him, the businessman, and he's like putting on glasses, and like, what have you done with Uncle Slam?
It's me, you idiot.
Yeah, and then he takes it off like, it's me. Oh, there he is, puts it back on. Oh, what have you done with Uncle Slam? That has been in my head forever.
I'm sorry. It is so stupid that it kind of loops back around to being a little funny.
To me, it is. It's like, I kind of have a soft spot for that.
But
joke,
it is a
as dumb as it
hard F movie.
For me, it's lower! This is my bottom of the fucking barrel for Disney. I'm not gonna lie. I actively hated it. I didn't find it funny, aside from, like, I had to mention those couple scenes, but I just felt so miserable watching it that, to me, it is my bottom of the fucking barrel. I know you have a different one, and it gave Home on the Range a run for its money. Like, I can't lie, but we're not there yet. Instead, we're at Chicken Little.
So, Chicken Little, this feels like a DreamWorks movie.
100%.
Just because of how absurdly mean-spirited it is. And it lacks that Disney charm. It just feels kind of gross. And that's kind of what makes it... It still looks nasty as hell. But weirdly enough, that's kind of what makes it kind of enjoyable. At least in the first act.
100%.
Because of just the sheer amount of bullying and the comedy of... Like, bullying is not funny in real life. But the sheer absurdity of the mean-spiritedness in the first act is actually kind of funny. Like, you know, when they're in the gym, and they're like, alright, we're going to fight
versus unpopular.
Popular versus unpopular. Oh, coach! Yeah, unpopular. Shouldn't we go over safety regulations? Yeah, hit the pig, kids! And I was like, okay, that's kind of funny.
I was laughing so hard at the first, like, 20 to 30 minutes of this movie.
But then the rest of the movie happened.
It was amazingly mean-spirited.
But then the rest of the movie happened, and it just wasn't as entertaining or funny or comfortable to watch.
Because that's the thing. It goes from being over-the-top mean and over-the-top funny into, okay, now we're actually trying to tell a story about aliens and shit, and it's...
not nearly as interesting.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, it wasn't awful, it was just aggressively fine. But I want you to talk about Butt Cluck. Because I know you are not a fan of Mr. Cluck.
Father of the fucking year over here. I don't like this character very much.
Why don't you like BC?
Because he's a shit father.
Why is he a shit father? Tell
me. He is incredibly unsupportive of his child. He treats him like an embarrassment up until the baseball. Like, when he wins the big game, out of kind of sheer happenstance, all of a sudden he's like, oh, I'm so proud of you. Like, that's my boy. All that. Oh, yeah. There was none of that shit beforehand. It was basically just, wow, you're an embarrassment. Like, he doesn't say that out loud, but it's like, you get the implication that it's like, he is incredibly embarrassed of his child. He is not proud of his son, and he does nothing to try and change that. He basically tells the kid, he's like, look, just don't stand out. Just kind of go be in a corner, you know? And it's like, well, fuck you too.
I know there's a line that he has in the third act where it's something along the lines of, I'm genuinely sorry you thought my love had to be earned. And I remember you going, because it did have to be earned, you piece of shit!
Yeah, he had to earn it with the baseball game. And then as soon as he does the thing where he thinks the sky is falling again, and push comes to shove, what does Buck Cluck do? He abandons his fucking kid. He's like, no, son, I don't believe you. And it's like, you don't stand up for your kid. You treat him like an embarrassment, and you only showed outward appreciation towards him when he did something you liked. That's not how fucking parenting works. And I know it tries to go out of its way to show that, oh, he doesn't really know how to be a father because, like, the wife is dead or whatever. I get that, but also fuck off. And yeah, it makes the scene where they do talk to each other and actually, like, hash it out. It does make it feel unearned because of that line. It's like, I'm sorry you feel like you had to earn my love. Yeah. You have shown nothing of the sort. You have not proven otherwise that your love is unconditional, like a parent should be. You know? And it bothers me so much. Like, I love my dad. I love my dad. I don't think he was a perfect father, because I don't think there's really such a thing. But he was kind. He was supportive. I never felt like I had to earn his love. And to me, it feels insulting to write a father like that. And I'm sure there are fathers like that everywhere. There are worse fathers than Buck Cluck in the world. And there are some people who never even know who their fathers are. But to try and make this character and try to make the audience sympathize with him rubs me the wrong way. It actively irritates me. And it's like, for me, that's why this movie doesn't work. Because, yeah, it can be kind of funny with its mean-spiritedness. Then it gets boring. Then it becomes awful by the end. In terms of, okay, Buck Cluck over here with his ham-fisted redemption arc. And then what they did to Foxy Loxy is actually really fucked up. So it's like, okay, so Foxy Loxy gets blasted, and she gets literally mind-raped into becoming essentially a different persona, where she goes from being kind of this alpha bitch character to this, like, like, wearing a fancy dress. And they're like, oh yeah, her brainwaves got kind of scrambled, we can fix her. And then the fucking pig is like, no, wait, she's perfect. And it's like, that's not funny. You've destroyed her entire being. And now that she's something you like, you don't want her to go back to it. Like, you have a say in that? That's fucked up. I didn't like the pig beforehand.
And then they allowed it.
They allowed it. And it's like, that goes beyond being like that, like, funny, mean-spiritedness to, this is actually horrifying. For me, it's an F-tier movie.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I can see, like, the more he's talking about it, the more he's like, oh no.
But what about you, sir?
I specifically also remember during the third act when Buck's like, okay, what do you need, son? I'm gonna help you. And how he keeps
overcompensating.
Kind of overcompensating. I remember that just making you more angry.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, I think the first, like, 20, 30 minutes, however long the first act is fucking hilarious. Then, it's just fine. I felt like I get what they're trying to do. Like, the thing with Butt Cluck is I see both sides of it. I see you are a terrible, unsupportive father who you just don't show love to your son until he was worthy of it. Until it, like, looked proper to love him because he won the big game. And that's really fucking. I also see the side of him that's like, I'm trying my best. I am ill-equipped for this. I don't know how to be a single father. I have a son who is the laughingstock of the entire city.
Also, yeah, fuck everybody in this town.
Oh, yeah, everyone's awful. Like, I don't really know how to deal with that. And then, like, in turn, like, the reputation is one thing, but the fact that my son has actually caused, like, a lot of property damage, and I have to pay for that, and the stress that comes... Like, there's a scene I remember that actually made me laugh really hard. He's on the phone with someone, and he's kind of getting into a shouting match with them, and at the very end, he's like, yeah, I love you too, Mom. It's like, I like that, but it's like, yeah, I see him as a piece of shit, and I also see him as someone who's trying. I think Stoic is more likable. And like, How to Train Your Dragon 1 Stoic.
Yeah.
Which is saying a lot. But, I don't hate it. I think the first act is way too funny for me to be able to put it in F tier. I think for me, it is more of a C overall. So I think we can compromise and put it in B. Or excuse me, not B. I meant D. I said the wrong one. Yeah, I was like, I was looking right at D, knew exactly what I meant, and then just said the wrong letter.
It's alright. Alright, so next is Meet the Robinsons, which...
Keep moving forward. I just summed up the entire movie.
I liked it. I think it is enjoyable. I don't think it is... I feel like for me, this is like the perfect C-tier movie for Disney, where it's like, it's not an elevated masterpiece. It's not elevated to that point. It's definitely not a bad movie, though. I do think it has a lot of enjoyable moments. I think it's very colorful, pretty well animated. I do think that the character designs haven't aged very well. Like, the characters look kind of gross.
They look pretty gross. Especially Waluigi over here.
Although I think he's intentional.
Oh, 100%. It's beautiful.
Bowler Hat Guy is the most entertaining part of the movie, just because he is just this incompetent villain who's like, he's literally this mustache twirling villain, but he's so bad at it.
Hey, Goob. Hey, you want to come over to my place? They
all hated me. Yeah, his backstory is actually really funny.
It's like both really sad and really funny at the same time.
I kind of struggle to really say anything about it, where it's like, yeah, it's basically like, it's a series of kind of funny gags, you know, like establishing the family, trying to figure out this wacky ass family tree. The future's kind of cool looking. It's got some interesting shit. Future. I like the message. You know, I like that scene where, like, he meets with his future self and they actually, like, kind of explore his lab, and it kind of inspires him for what to do going forward. But I think it's passable. For me, it's a solid C tier. That's the weird thing. I feel like when it comes to most C tier movies, it's like, I feel like I could kind of go either way depending on how I feel. It's like, this is such a solid
This is
C.
a strong 70%.
This is a strong mid, but what do you think?
So, here's the thing about Meet the Robinsons. I almost said Keep the Robinsons, I don't know why. I agree. The look of the film hasn't aged super well. It looks a little gross. Not Chicken Little gross. Like, oh god, Chicken Little is disgusting to look at.
It really is.
But it looks good, not great.
Are you about to say that it looks gurgy?
No, I was right. I was doing good, not great.
Okay, because I was
gurgy in this movie? Not really. Or if so, they just don't have enough screen time to really be a gurgy.
Yeah.
It's one of those where the villain is really funny and really pitiable at the same time, and I like him a lot. And then you have the
villain,
Hat, who's
terrifying,
really competent and kind of terrifying, and I love that. I like the way they beat the Hat. It's, I am never going to invent you, and that it's Oh yeah, that just erased it from existence.
Future.
Like, that's fucking insane. I love that.
You gotta love weird timey-wimey bullshit like that.
I liked that a lot. I think the family and, like, their individual jokes and personalities, like, sometimes they were working, sometimes they weren't. It's fine, like, C-tier shit. But here's why I can't say it's anything less than a B-tier movie. Keep moving forward. Is it incredibly ham-fisted? Yes. Is it insanely in your face? Yes. Is it a little bit annoying because of that? Yes. I won't deny that. But it's still an incredibly powerful, important message. And as someone who has had some really, really low points, like a couple years ago, it's a very important thing to keep in mind. Like, I'm mentally and physically in a much better place than I was. And just seeing this movie, and it's like, yes, keep moving forward.
Climb that mountain.
Made me really appreciate that. And I think if I had seen it before actively trying to work on myself, I would have been like, yeah, it's a little annoying how in your face it is. It's fine. It's a C-tier movie, but in my personal good faith, like, I can't put it anything lower than a B. I can't put it higher than a B. I don't think it's good enough for an A, personally, but to me, I have to say it's a B-tier movie.
So speaking of B-tier movies, we're going to take that giant pin out. It's time for Bolt, baby. I kid. I don't think it's a B-tier movie. I think it's a D-tier
movie. Talking about shit that's just become part of our lexicon, like shit I quote daily. Let me just put a pin in that real quick. That alone makes it a B-tier movie. If nothing else, just because of how
the fucking agent is such a piece of shit. I love that. He's like, okay, I see what you're doing. We're going to put a pin in that. Hey,
what is that behind your ear? Oh, it's a pin. And we're going to put it right here. And we will talk about this
You use
later.
That shit so much.
It's wonderful. If you watch my channel, which I hope you do, I hope that's why you're here. You know I'll do that like 4 times in one video. And you've got Bolt to thank for that.
Thanks, Bolt. I think aside from the meme, I think Bolt is okay.
I just say this, but before I forget, if there is one Disney character I really, really want as a summon in Kingdom Hearts, it's Lightning McQueen. Because I want to be able to ride on Lightning McQueen and do donuts and kill Heartless and hear him yell ka-chow. But if there's a second character I would want, it would be Bolt just fucking super barking shit.
That'd be pretty cool.
I want it so bad.
Yeah. Maybe in Kingdom Hearts 4. Yeah, I know how much you're looking forward to that.
I can't wait to have to buy Kingdom Hearts 4 and give no fucks about the story anymore. And even though I don't, I'm still gonna get invested and go, I hate all of this. Oh, I remember a second I saw Sora's new design in Quadratum.
He's at a loss for words, ladies and gentlemen.
It broke me. I remember seeing it and going, if this is his design the entire game, I'm not buying it. This looks awful. This looks terrible. I'm not going to go on that tangent, but thank God apparently that's just in a major
Tokyo.
World, which still means I have to look at it. Like, oh God. Please talk about Bolt.
Okay, Bolt is a movie about a dog played by John Travolta. And he has to go on an adventure with Kitty Softpaws and the hamster. And okay, yeah, can we just say that the hamster is probably the best part of the movie? He is so ludicrously aggro. Let it begin. Let it begin.
There's also a good shout out to the I don't know if it's intentional or if it's just something I get out of it, but to the pigeons from Animaniacs.
That was a pretty good shout out. Yeah, it's a fine movie. I think it has some charm to it. I like Bolt as a character. I like it's Emily, right? Is it Emily or Penny? Okay. I like Penny. I like just the adventure they go on. I like the cat. And yeah, it's a solid movie. It's like, you know what? I wouldn't mind showing my kids this like a couple times or something. But for me, it's like a B-C movie.
To me, it's a B-A, so I think we can agree to put it in B.
So
I don't really have much else to say about it. Yeah. I have a soft spot for it.
It's B for bold.
I remember seeing it in theaters on like January 2nd when it came out and being like, guys, this is the best movie I've seen all year. Because I will never not like making that joke whenever I see a movie on like New Year's or whatever. It's stupid, but it appeals to me on such a spiritual level, just like putting a pin in things.
Yeah. Okay, did we agree we were going to stop or begin on Princess and the Frog?
Okay, so what we had said was to about Bolt, Princess and the Frog-ish, and then if we're still good to go, we can keep going. I still feel good to go. I want to keep talking about movies.
Okay. All right. So
if you're at a point where you want to stop,
I feel like we're kind of reaching a good stopping point.
Okay, we can talk about the Princess and the Frog, and then we'll
so
resume on.
Princess and the Frog is what a fucking mess of a movie this is. Now, I feel like we do not dislike this movie. However, this movie has some problems. It's kind of like the same thing with both Chicken Little and Brother Bear, where the first act is phenomenal, and then it just kind of falls apart by the second and third act when, like, I guess it's more like Brother Bear, where it's like, okay, this is when the weird, cartoony, funny shit happens in the second and third act, and it just doesn't work as well, because it's like the first act is about, this woman, this hardworking woman in New Orleans, she wants to start her own restaurant. She wants to, that was her father's dream. Her father died, never being able to see that dream because he worked himself to the bone to support his family. She wants that dream too, but due to her gender and her race, in the time period she is in, it's just not enough. Meanwhile, you've got like this prince from nondescript country who's trying to find a sweet honey to get some so that she can marry her because he loves her father's money. And you got this voodoo guy played by Keith David. Don't you disrespect me, little man. Don't you derelict or deride. He's the best part of the movie.
So cool. I don't think I can say that.
You don't think you could say that?
To me, yeah. First third of the movie, Tiana is probably my favorite part of the movie. But I like Dr. Facilier a lot, and I like Charlotte a lot.
I do like Charlotte a lot.
She was so funny.
It's like I kind of saw that character, I'm like, oh, you're going to be so annoying. But it's like, no, she is genuinely really funny. And also just really heartwarming how she is just genuine friends with this person.
And I think that's what really helped. Was like, I genuinely really like their friendship.
Yeah. And then she turns into a frog, and then it's a Bayou adventure. With talking fireflies and gators. And it's like, oh, this movie stopped being good all of a sudden. And
so for you, what makes that part not good? Because I can point to exactly where the movie lost me, but I want you to say what did it for you.
I think for me, it is the relationship between the main couple. Okay. I don't generally like the dude. I don't remember his name.
Prince Naveen.
It's Naveen. I didn't generally like him.
I will also accept Jean Bob because that's the name of the John Cleese frog from Swan Princess.
Wait, John Cleese was a frog in 2 movies?
What else was he a frog?
Shrek.
Oh, that's right, because he's the king in Shrek. Yes.
Is that intentional?
I don't know. I will double check if it is John Cleese as my boy Jean Bob, but I believe he is.
Isn't that weird? He's played an animated talking frog in 2 movies. In 2 different movies. That's weird. But, okay, so for me, I didn't quite buy them as a couple. And I feel like... Yeah. I feel like, in general, the characters kind of stopped being interesting after a while. It's like, I didn't quite connect with them as much as I did beforehand. But what was the moment that broke you?
The moment that broke me. It's when, I believe it's when they go to, I don't remember her name, but
the witch doctor.
Yes. I want to call her like a gypsy, or like voodoo doctor. I think that's, I don't know if that's exactly the kind of magic used, but like it's New Orleans. That's the thing.
The swamp witch.
The swamp witch. That's a good term for it. And it's when she was essentially saying, Tiana, child, you need to stop following your dreams and get yourself a man.
You know what? That's right.
Ruined the entire movie. Because here's the thing. I've seen this movie twice. And the first time was on the Disney Channel. So, and when I had started watching it, it was like the scene where she turned into a frog. So I didn't even have the first third of the movie. And I was like, this is fine. Like, it's
aggressively
very, like,
okay.
It's very pretty. I love the hand-drawn look. I miss this. But yeah, it's aggressively okay. And then we watched it for the marathon, and I got to see the first third, and I got to, like, this is Tiana's story. This is her life. This is how hard she is working. This is what she is dreaming about. Here is her relationship with her friend. Here is Friends from the Other Side, which I didn't see when I first saw the movie. Now, I had seen it because I've looked it up. It's fantastic. I love it. I was like, oh my god, this movie's amazing. I must have been on something when I didn't like the rest of it. And then I saw it and I was like, oh no. Oh no. They only made part of it really good. And the rest... And then it's not like it's awful. Like, I have a fucking talking gator playing jazz. Of course I enjoy that. But it's fantastic, and then it's okay. And... oh, what was his name? Ray, the talking firefly? Like,
yeah. That was a Gervie.
He's the Gervie, like, he's fine. I don't hate him. I don't think he's that funny. The relationship between Tiana and Naveen, I think it's fine. I don't super get into it. But it's not... I hate the way it's written at that point. Because to me, it's less about... I get what they're trying to do. And it's, Tiana, you are working yourself to death and taking no time for yourself. What you need, what you genuinely need, is to be able to rest. You need to find someone who can support you.
Being a lazy piece of shit.
Yes, it's like, not in the sense of find yourself a rich man and have him take care of you the rest of your life, but someone that will work with you and support you in your dream. You need to have a work-life balance. That's fine. Work-life balance is important shit. That's a good message. That's a good moral. But it really feels like, stop trying to achieve your dream and just get hitched. Come on. Like, what the fuck? Like, given how much I loved this character and her independence and just how hard she was working for what she wanted, the rest of the movie felt like a giant slap in the face. It also has the weird problem where the main antagonist...
is barely in the movie.
He's barely in it. Like, he's not a threat. He doesn't interact with them until the end of the movie. And so, like, him... like, when he's offering Tiana, it's like, yeah, I can give you, like, everything you want and shit. It's, like...
who the fuck are you?
Yeah, kinda, yeah! Like, it's... so what's his plan? It's like, I need to steal the souls of the people in New Orleans so I can pay back a debt. Like, okay, like, that's kind of interesting, but it just... it's like its own different movie.
It really is.
It's like we were saying earlier, like how Lilo and Stitch, how there's this one movie and then there's this other movie, but they feel like the same movie and they work together. You know what it is in Princess and the Frog? It's like Belle. How there's this really, really good movie about what it means to be a celebrity and what it means to be involved in, like, internet culture and internet clout, and how you are how this girl is balancing, like, how she actually sees herself versus how people see her internet persona, and it's amazing. And then it's also this weird Beauty and the Beast movie that's fine. I like it, but doesn't feel like the same movie anymore. Princess and the Frog is like that a lot for me, and at least with Belle, I'm like, there's the one movie I love, and the other movie is fine. I still like it, so I still like it a lot. This is 30 minutes is amazing, and then the other hour is
mid.
Fine. And so part of me wants to put it in B because of how much I love that first third, but then the rest of it is like, does that drag it down? It's not a D by any means. So like, does it drag it down to a C? I'm not sure.
I would think so. I think while it does have disparate standout moments, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't come together as a cohesive whole. I think that's why it should be C tier.
That's fair.
Oh, wow.
All right, there are 12 movies left. Do you want to keep going? Do you want to take a break?
I think I'm good to take a break from here. But yeah, so next video will be the last one. And we'll get to talk about all these fun movies.
See, you say that,
but there are a lot of legitimate.
Yeah, it's like
it can be taken either way, though.
Yeah, because it was your word said one thing, but your tone, I got something different, and I feel like just kind of looking at them, I feel like maybe half of them I'm gonna be like, this movie is great, and then the other half is like, it's fine.
Yeah, but then there's gonna be a couple.
The backs in.
But yeah, so we will talk to you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.